No, doktor. Can't hear. Tak boleh dengar.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you. Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, doktor.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I see 38 participant here. Actually, whole posting ada berapa ramai?
38.
Seorang boleh 38 ya. Ini Anisha ya. Anisha Rashidan, Rashidan ya. Maybe you can unmute dulu. Leader Anisha nih, bukan?
Faizal Ishak.
Oh, Faizal Ishak ni leader ya. Faizal boleh unmute dulu lah, tak apa.
Okay.
Okay, so 38 of you ya. So mananya ada yang tak sampai lagi, tak datang lagi, tak apalah, nanti you report to PA department, Kak Farah tu. Siapa yang tak datang lagi tak tahu ya. Biar je lah. Okay ya, so why don't we start with siapa Ummul Kitab first? Al-Fatihah. Alhamdulillah. Iya kan na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Day 3 of your admission ya, in your pitch posting. So welcome to all of you. Actually I forgot, during your day 1 tuh, on Monday, you met Dr. Ismail is it?
Yes, doktor.
Faisal?
Yes, doktor.
You met Dr. Faisal, and then any briefing given by him or maybe Farah or someone else?
Sister
Faisal,
Farah.
any briefing given or Farah ya? Okay lah, so before we go to civic examination, but actually civic examination is not that really difficult. We discuss first about the posting. Okay, you want to discuss the CVS first? Ya, ada phone
posting
call
first. Either way can, doktor.
Okay, so we discuss a little bit posting first. So I will try to email requirement. That's a bit slow. But by the way, okay lah, maybe you already hear from Prof Masuki, is it? From Deputy Dean that it is good news lah for you. You by 3rd August you can enter the campus kan. Kena sign sekarang ke macam mana? Okay lah. Wait a minute ya, I need to sign some document. Welcome. Okay, so I repeat, it is good news for you. You can enter the kuliah by 3rd August, and then within that 2 weeks period, you will have some training, some isolation procedure for 2 weeks kan. Maybe like year 5, you will be swabbed kan. And then 2 weeks after that, by 17th of August, we can do some face-to-face sessions. Ini sorry, internet a little bit slow nih. Requirement. Oh, ini, oke. Alright, so some error during screen sharing. Okay. Can you observe the screen now? My screen? Faisal?
No, Doctor.
Cannot ya?
No, nothing appears.
You only... Okay. Where am I now? Okay.
Okay,
Ah,
Doctor.
nih. Okay, so this one ya, this apa Google Docs nih ya. This one the list of requirement lah, but this one not updated yet. Yang some old old requirement. Okay, so we discuss one by one. Yang first, your posting will be not 12 weeks kan now. I think only 8 weeks of posting and including the exam kan. Misalnya? Okay lah, so you can review letter from your timetable and academic calendar buat di posting. Okay. Yang rule number 2 is not is not applicable now because you are work from home. But bear in your mind that from 8 to 5 you need to be ready for any teaching kan. But usually we will try to make 2 session per day, morning and afternoon session. Okay. Until now week 1 kan. Week 1 is 13th of July. Week 1, 1, 2, 3. So by 3 weeks you will be at home, and then by week 4 and week 5 you will be quarantine at Mahala, and week 6, 7, 8 we can do some face-to-face session. Okay, attendance is 100% ya. 100% attendance itu ya from any classes kan. But usually kan from academic role to eligible to sit for exam, you need to attend at least 80%. So please use it carefully. Don't be absent if unless it is required lah. Some issue like maybe you are MC or you need to go somewhere. There is emergency. But from home you can do even MC pun you boleh datang kan, you boleh attend this online session ya. Okay, and then number 4 attendance yang for now is not eligible because the recording attendance will be done by PA by Farah. Maybe you need to submit Google form ya, Faisal.
Yes.
Hello, Faisal.
Kita give link. Google link. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Doctor.
Maybe don't mute lah. You just unmute ya. Nanti because I don't like to talk to myself lah. Cakap seorang-seorang. Saya sering tanya, even though like this session pun should be a tutorial kan. So please give some feedback lah. I will ask here and there, and then you also may stop the session too with asking anything, or maybe you can give some other suggestion. Just stop me ya. Anything you feel not clear, just stop me. Okay, now number 4 nih. Okay lah, just submission of the attendance form tadi. Nantilah masa you'll be 6 and beyond lah, submission of the attendance tuh. Okay, number 6 your rotation. Nah, this one is previous posting kan, like your yang block 1 and block 2 they go to Temerloh and Pekan, but for block 3 it was online 100% online. For you nanti you have 3 weeks 3 weeks face to face kan. But unlikely we will send you to Temerloh and Pekan. Maybe we will keep the teaching in com and hospital UAE and campus. Okay. So not really matter here. Okay, number 7 on call. So it is also privilege for you all. You don't need to go any on call because our hospital is now restricted. What more if you go to STA or Hosas is not allowed for now. Okay, yang number 8 nih still applicable ya. Dulu this rule only in Temerloh lah, but now in all every ward lah, including nanti when you perform face-to-face session in our hospital, only not more than 6 of you lah. Usually we will try to cut kan. Now you are divided to 4 groups, is it? 4 groups.
Yes, brother.
Per group 9 or 10 of you. So we will cut to half lah. So like group 1, 1A and 1B lah. If one group 1A go to the hospital, yang 1B stay in Mahala. And can do the online session as well. Like that. So rotation later yang nanti week 6, 7, 8 we will we will edit somewhere. So we will all of you yang pergi hospital to only half of per group ya. There will be a schedule only you only allowed to go to hospital during your schedule time. Yang grup lain yang tak ada kelas ya tak pergi. Alright. Number 9 ini inform any lecturer 1 week before ya. Like this kan no one inform me kan, but Farah inform me. But next session please aware of your timetable. It is your own responsibility to contact respective lecturers ya. Like group 1 ada teaching with Dr. Fazil, ya contact him. WhatsApp 1 week before, inform whether the session will be on time or need to be rescheduled, because something will be very busy and need to reschedule. Like this pun only 10:30 I can enter this room. Tadi dari pagi banyak busy with activity. Ini pun tadi pun dah banyak yang kacau, masih orang kacau aja untuk minta sign ke apa-apa. Okay. Now yang penting ni yang number 10 ni. Logbook. So at the moment kan you are online, so you don't receive any logbook. You cannot enter hospital to do any ward works. So yang number 1 it is abolished lah. It is exempted. No need to see up to 20 clinical cases. But actually it is not a benefit or privilege for you. It is a loss for you. Yeah? Like previous posting, block 1, block 2, they have plenty of time to see any patients kan. But now you have very limited time to go to the ward or see the patient only during class, only during bedside teaching. So it is a loss for you. So you will lose so many skills, practical skills in clerking, history taking, physical examination especially. So just for reflection for you all, you have very limited time. Please use your time very wisely and carefully, especially when you have opportunity to see a patient or to call a patient, because sometimes like my class pun nanti online pun, when you do long case presentation, I will try to arrange you to able to clerk at least one patient lah. One patient maybe by phone or if possible video call. But if it is not possible to do this before presentation, we just discuss any cases. Maybe you can, like your 5 you are very creative. Maybe you can ask from your previous posting any case write up before, and then you presented lah, and then we discuss lah previous case write up, we discuss, boleh ya. Just like PBL session during your year 1, year 2 BMS kan ada PBL session kan, discuss case scenario and then discuss how to approach and so forth. Sama pun nanti in this posting kalau long case online ini if not possible to get real patient, we discuss previous patients or previous case write up. So we discuss how to approach about the history taking, PPE, investigation, diagnosis, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay. So requirement yang ini we abolish, and then yang this we replace ya. So yang ini kena take note baik-baik. We replace yang your observation of what procedures nih. We replace to procedure presentation. So every one of you need to prepare one presentation about one procedure, and then you present to your mentor, yeah, like this. Nine or 10 kan pasti kan. Nantilah we review. Itulah we need to list 9 or 10 procedures. Can be invasive, can be non-invasive. Yang invasive like this lah, vein puncture, blood CNS sampling, IV line insertion. Yang non-invasive can be like nebulization, EEG recording. So nanti every one of you will have one task assignment to prepare slide, and you may present. And then maybe per group pun will have some similar list ya. So kalau you malas pun at least you share with kawan pun boleh. You nak share nak tanya from previous posting yang group 3 pun boleh. It is not not necessarily you must do your own. You can copy paste and ask from previous slides as long as you understand how to perform. Yeah. This very simple. And then yang this one also abolish lah, because you will not have opportunity to see up to 20 patients. Yang number 11 this one ya. Previous posting itu kita minta two cases write up or summary. Kalau summary itu year 5 lah. For you is case write up ya. But yang block 3 we only ask for one ya case write up. So block 4 ini maybe similar scenario lah. Please prepare one case write up ya. So that's why kan I will try to make arrangement for you to especially my group lah to clock at least one patient, even though cannot face to face, maybe can be phone call or video call ya with the patient. Hopefully nanti pun by week 6, 7, 8 you can have some opportunity to see a patient. So please at least every one of you have one case write up ya. Real case. Yang ini tak ayah, yang previous requirement handwriting. Okay lah, nowadays you just typewriting, but the problem kan copy paste tu to avoid plagiarism tu actually kalau nak strict we will ask you to do some Turnitin report kan, plagiarism checking. Tapi it's up to you lah, if you nak perform ke, nak copy paste ke, we will know lah. If you copy paste, it will be seen lah that you understand the case, or usually copy paste wrong thing, like 1 year old child dah vaksin booster, so it is wrong lah. So we will check in details. If you copy paste and then without understand what do you copy paste, so it will be seen. Okay, at the end of posting, so yang ini bukan ya, logbook tadi tak jadi, so only your requirement tadi first only present
Procedure.
Discussion procedure, satu. And then submit one case write-up, second. And then third tuh ya mark from your long case presentation tuh. And or seminar ya. And seminar ya. Because you have also seminar list kan. Kalau seminar
Yes,
ini you find reference by yourself and then present. Nah, you have at least one mark from seminar presentation and then one mark from long case presentation. So long case kan we have apa? Per week per group have 2 session kan. So minimal kan 2 of you. So up to week 8 kan ada 16 session per group tuh. So every one of you must present. Ada few of you can present twice. Yes? Sorry? Can you repeat? Kata ada. Oke, tak ada ya. Kalau tak ada, so we go back to schedule. Wait a minute. Farah already share you the timetable, is it?
For week
Faisal?
1 only. Week 1 only.
Oh, week 1 only. Okay. I will try to find it. Google Drive kan ya? Google. Very slow now. So for this week, for this week, you have berapa? Yang examination ada 4 kan? For station CVS, respi, abdomen, neuro. And then yang tutorial ada 4 juga ya. Development, growth to nutrition and growth, development 2, 3 immunization, 4 is diarrhea and dehydration. And 1 history taking. And then starting from next week itulah usually per group has 2 bedside teaching, long case presentation, sorry not bedside, but because long case presentation per group per week until week 5 too. And then usually 2 or 3 seminar per week juga. Very simple actually for year 3 itu. Nanti starting for week 6 tuh yang face to face, maybe we can have some bedside teaching. I think that's all because it's very slow. I cannot show you the timetable right now. Okay, any question for requirement? Sama Faisal? Any question? Tak ada? Okay ya. So clear ya. So hopefully no more issue. Ini nanti share. Very slow. Oh ini ada bit timetable. Quite slow. 1 minute. Okay lah, I think no need to apa? To share the timetable datang lah. Nanti later lah. Oh ini boleh. Sekejap. You already get a list of seminar dah dapat Faisal? And then subgroup tu. Group 1, 2, 3, 4 tu.
Dah, seminar, mentor, mentee.
Faisal, jadi leader kena jawab. Mana
Dah, Doktor.
Faisal?
Doktor? Yang lain dengar ke?
Dengar.
Okey, okey.
Okay, hello, I am here again. Can you hear me now? Faisal?
Yes, Doktor.
Can.
Faisal, hello?
Yes, Doktor.
I cannot hear you now. Hello, Faisal? Oh, hilang
Doktor.
Faisal. Okay. Can someone of you unmute satu?
Tes, tes. Tes, Dokter. Halo. Test mic 1, 2, 3.
Hello, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor, we can hear.
I don't see Faisal now. Maybe yang nampak ni siapalah, Siti Sarah ke? Can you unmute seorang?
Yes, Doctor.
Siti Sarah boleh unmute ya, yang tak bising kan? Okay, alright. Because I need to hear your response lah. Kalau anytime you not clear, you can stop as well ya. Boleh? Siti Sarah boleh?
Boleh, Doctor.
Oh, Siti Sarah tak boleh cakap pula. Anyone yang ini, yang can talk? Oh, ini pun siapa ni? Hami.
Siti Sarah dari
Use earphone kan? Hami Riza.
Yes, Doctor.
Hello?
Hello? Hello, Doctor.
I cannot hear you now.
No.
Wait a minute. Hai. How to do? Rejoin. Okay. Hello? Hami Riza, can you unmute?
Hello?
Can you
Can
talk?
you... Yes, I'm
Saya
talking.
tak dengar anything, Mbak.
Hello?
What happened?
Hello?
Okay lah, but you can hear me clearly kan?
Yes.
Okay lah. So it will be problem lah, because it will be one way talk lah, which is I don't prefer. I prefer to do two-way dialogue rather than monologue macam ni. Because I cannot hear you. Okay lah, just try. Okay, so how do I know that you can see my screen nih? Okay. So, okay lah, you can respond from the chat. Okay, simple ya, from for CVS examination. Wait a minute. So, tak bawa pula. Okay, the procedure actually nothing different between child and adult. Yeah, all the procedures, the step, the protocol here. Inspection, check the hands, pulse, and then go to the precordium. Precordium always have 4 inspections and percussion. So it is more or less the same between child and adult. Yeah, not that much different about the procedures or list of the examination. Only about the approach actually. Yeah. So I don't prepare any slides or there is one video in the department, but I don't search in YouTube any video of civil examination in children. You can see the video and then okay. After this, I think I have to research from YouTube, and then we can see together. Hopefully no internet issue this worse than in campus lah. In campus last week, okay. Alright. So back about the approach ya. Itulah saya tak boleh your Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, doktor. Can hear you.
Can.
Dengar doktor.
Doktor boleh dengar ke?
Okay, I think I will try to make double call lah. Yang the voice will be from my handphone, and then the screen from the laptop lah. Maybe boleh unmute lagi seorang. Hopefully I can hear you. Coba because my handphone ni pakai data. Siapa
Doktor,
sih? Semua
Doktor
tak ada
dengar.
picture pula. Semua tak ada yang on video pula. Siapa yang on video ni?
Doktor dengar ke kalau saya tanya ni?
Maybe Siti Hadijah or Awatif, can you unmute?
Yes, doctor. Doctor.
Ya, Hadijah. Apa? Just siapa? Make some voice maybe. Give.
Can
Just
you
talk
hear
something.
me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, doctor.
Ya. Okay, can you talk? Hadijah, can you hear me? Boleh?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, good. Alright lah, so double screen lah. Alright. So, itulah problem with the hospital punya wifi ni yang my laptop ni. So Hadijah, you please unmute ya. I will
Okay.
ask you anytime. Nanti boleh tukar lah. Kalau you bosan, you boleh mute and then suruh kawan. Astagfirullahaladzim, ni yang wifi nya tak boleh ni. Alamak. Okay. Mana ni? My screen kat belakang. Cannot see my screen ya? Ya. Fotonya boleh nih. So, tak boleh tengok my screen ya. Oh ini. Okay. Now.
Boleh nampak, doctor?
Okay. Alright. You can see my screen ya? Kenapa saya tak boleh?
Yes, doctor.
Alright.
Nampak.
This one the screen ya. Itulah. So again the step not is similar, not much different, but the approach lah. So Hadijah, do you still remember dulu masa your dari posting ada yang one session about approach to pediatric patient tuh, ingat tak?
Yes.
Ya, itulah yang the important part in the pediatric posting about especially the examination, the physical examination is how you approach the patients. Yeah. In young infant below 6 months, they still not recognize anybody kan. So especially the first 3 months dia tak akan ingat lah siapa, tak akan boleh recognize. So it is no problem to examining neonatal period yang newborn babies ya. In the first 1 month atau sampai umur 2-3 bulan pun should be okay. But usually the baby tu will start have some recognition about the mother, the parents tu around 6 months. So barulah 6 months and above, usually 1 year tu baru stranger have some stranger anxiety. Itulah masa takut orang tu, especially in toddler ya, jangan lupa ya, umur 1, 2 and 3 years ya, 1 to 3 years old toddler, it is the most difficult part of the examination because they have it is normal development, they have some component of stranger anxiety, takut orang. So the tricks is ask help from the parents, can be whatever. So suruh ibu bantu dukung ke, tenangkan ke, and then the next thing is don't make apa nama dia muka garang ya, difficult face ke apa yang muka yang susah nak yang buat budak takut ya. So kena apa? Memang kalau you tengok pediatrician tu most likely dia kena apa? Kena childish sikit ya. Kena macam budak-budak sebab terbiasa bermain dengan budak lah kita. So the key is child time tu is playing time lah. Children they will prefer to play all of the time lah. Even until school age pun still prefer to play. Usually especially yang preschool age tu sampai umur 6-7 tahun. If you can approach them with some toys, sometimes ya nak approach with some candies, chocolate, but be careful about the allergy. Tu boleh. So the key is how you approach the patients. Once you make good approach, you can do some examination smoothly. But in some cases, even though with good approach pun still the patient still cry lah, still afraid. So don't worry. Yeah. The key one is don't make good approach. Key two is don't worry. Yeah. Crying patient is normal. Jangan kalau you tampak budak menangis jadi takut. Yang the one that need practice is this approach lah. Kalau you nampak you jadi takut, budak akan lagi takut ya. So make good approach, just calm, confident ya. Another tips to make you confident, actually you must do more practice ya. Kena berlatih banyak-banyak supaya confident ya. Skill is only gathered by practice ya. So you tak akan boleh main bola kalau you tak pernah tendang bola ya. Sama you tak akan boleh examine a child kalau you tak pernah jumpa budak-budak lah, main dengan budak-budak tu. Okay, so this one the approach. Be confident. Nah, supaya confident ya kena practice, and then another one you must have adequate knowledge, adequate information kan. Kalau you tak tahu how to examine, nak check apa, tak faham civil examination kena pegang apa, so it will be difficult for you ya. So please practice more and then study more ya. Just it is classic requirement lah. Kalau tak pernah baca ya tak tahu. This one pun I just summarize my slide pun I just summarize from pediatric physical examination yang Dr. Zainab Kasim tu. Dr. Zainab Kasim is previous UI lecturer, tapi masa dia produce the book tu dia under USIM. But you can this very simple list of the item of the examination. For example like this lah, the civil examination in children tu nak cek apa-apa, very simple. It's one minimal requirement. If you want to learn more, nanti baca ni ya. You cari any textbook of pediatric physical examination, ada McLeod, ada any other books boleh ya. And then tadi yang saya dah sebut ya, practice tu because you have problem kan, now you cannot even go to the hospital kan, you do from home. So banyak-banyaklah buka YouTube lah, tengok video ya. Alright, so practice and then inilah the item ya, this is the item. From general, how do you approach the CVS examination tu? from general, always from general ya. Any systemic examination pun we start from general. General examination or inspection tuh you just give assessment, overall assessment of the child ya. In CPS there are 5 ya. Kalau you tengok the slide ni, at least you kena comment on these 5 ya. First, dysmorphism ya, and dysmorphic features. Why? Because if we have patient with congenital heart disease, especially usually it is related with some dysmorphism, some chromosomal or genetic anomalies ya. Contoh patient with coarctatio aorta, ya usually Turner syndrome lah. If you see the most common syndrome apa? Khadijah dah mute. Amiriza good. Unmute. Apa most common apa kromosomal yang you tahu apa?
Down syndrome.
Okay, good. Down syndrome is very common kan. Usually Down syndrome related with FASD kan. So kalau you jumpa patient Down syndrome, ya cek lah di heart, maybe ada FASD. Itulah kalau if we invite the patient for CVS, maybe the patient has the syndrome kan, maybe Down syndrome, Turner, Noonan, what else? DJOS syndrome, and so on and so forth. Nanti the list of the syndrome tu ada in the book you baca. So you kena comment whether the patient has some dysmorphic feature or not. Down syndrome, you boleh list down also the features of Down syndrome. Okay. Comment number 2 or item number 2 in general inspection is assessment of heart failure. Yeah. So you must give comment kalau patient nampak tachypneic with or have some shortness of breath or dyspnea or some chest indrawing or maybe sampai cyanosis. Cyanosis kan you must give another comment here ya. So give comment about the distress, whether the patient in distress or not. Kalau patient in distress, possibly patient have heart failure ya. But it is also possible patient distress due to respiratory problem, for example ya. But at least we comment patient in distress or not ya. Okay, number 3 is tadi yang color ya. Color the cyanosis ni can be part of the respiratory distress, but sometimes patient not in distress but cyanosis kan. Kenapa penting ya? Because very simple. If you have patient with congenital heart disease, you must classify whether it is cyanotic or acyanotic. So yang cyanotic heart disease, so cek di central cyanosis. Kat mana you cek ni?
Mucosa.
Okay, the tongue and internal mucosa of the mouth tu. So sudah tengok kat dalam. Yang mucosa tu internal lips pun boleh. Kalau bibir luar hati-hati ya. Sometimes yang external lip tu still peripheral ya. Kalau sejuk pun boleh biru, tapi yang nampak yang dalam lah. Bibir bagian dalam dengan lidah ya. Call pula. Teaching. Wait a minute, I have some. Hello, can you still hear me? Boleh ya?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, good. Apa tadi cyanosis ya? So to know whether it is cyanotic or acyanotic ya, check the central cyanosis to in inner lips and tongue. Patient with central cyanosis, so simple lah. Kita tahu kalau patient cyanotic ya, it is usually always complex ya. So that's why the term itu kita sebut complex cyanotic heart disease ya. Because in cyanotic heart disease itu the lesion, the anatomical anomaly itu usually not simple. Kalau yang acyanotic, yang patient still ping, usually simple, like VSD or ASD or PDA or PS, usually simple ya. But kalau yang cyanotic usually complex. TOF have four anomalies kan. TGA must have VSD or ASD or PDA and so on and so forth ya. So kalau patient cyanotic ya simple aja. We just comment it is complex cyanotic heart disease. Okay, number 4 is pallor ya, because patient with heart disease itu despite cyanotic, maybe the other problem is anemia ya. Or kalau patient in hypovolemia, they can look pale as well kan, or in cardiogenic shock and hypotension ya. Okay, and then another one is dental hygiene. Why it is important? Because in patient with heart disease, they have a higher risk to develop infective endocarditis. So we should make sure that their dental hygiene, oral hygiene is good. So comment lah kalau they have poor oral hygiene, dental hygiene, banyak caries. So kasihan patient tu, we must refer them to dental or maybe ENT. Bahaya kalau we let the patient have poor dental hygiene, so high risk to develop infective endocarditis. Kuman boleh masuk from the caries and then develop IE, yang bahaya. Alright. So and anytime you can stop me ya kalau tak clear ya. Okay, next is check the hands ya. Usually kan it is common for you check from the peripheral and then baru pergi to the precordium kan, from hands first. Okay, I just follow lah, check the hands. Hands tu again it is much more detailed than other systemic examination. Kalau other system kan maybe you just check pale or not pale kan, but kalau in CVS you must check any clubbing finger. Clubbing pun you must assess in what degree, 1 up to 4. And then again check the peripheral cyanosis. Kalau dia ada central cyanosis, must have peripheral cyanosis. Okay, maybe pallor juga. Kalau pale tu, itulah patient with pallor usually anemia will also sometimes will also, it is difficult to assess whether it is cyanotic or acyanotic kalau patient pale. Actually patient TOF sometimes kalau dia anemia ya tak nampak cyanotic lah. Contoh macam tu, so comment lah. Maybe patient ni actually complex cyanotic heart disease tapi pale. But kalau yang nampak pink, acyanotic ya, it will be looks easier for you lah. Okay. Oh ya, another thing tadi yang saya lupa sedikit about cyanotic and acyanotic ni. Kalau cyanotic heart disease yang usually complex ni dia always blue ya. But kalau acyanotic, kalau you tanya history, sometimes dia ada some episode of cyanosis. For example, patient VSD dia menangis kuat atau VSD tengah sakit, demam tinggi, has fever with increasing oxygen demand. Sometimes they have some episode of cyanosis. Itu je yang kena be careful ya. Jangan patient ni pernah biru, maknanya dia cyanotic heart disease. No ya. Apalah the one that assess whether it is cyanotic or acyanotic ya, your overall examination. Kalau always blue it is cyanotic ya. Tapi itulah yang cyanotic kalau dia pale jadi tak nampak biru sangat, it is difficult lah sometimes. Or what more yang post some procedure, for example TOF after bitisan tak nampak lah biru tu. Okay, next is features of IE ya. Just routine, you just comment any stigmata of IE, granulation, oscillatory note and so on and so forth ya. Which is actually very rare ya in children tu. You can still see my slide ya? Boleh?
Cannot.
Hilang ya?
Ya, hilang. Saya disconnect lagi yang main laptop nih, yang pakai wifi ini problem nih.
Doktor, nak tanya.
Yes.
Kalau macam infective endocarditis kan, patient boleh jadi ke kalau bukan sebab bakteria tapi sebabkan dia punya ventricular septal defect ke yang predispose baby to get infective endocarditis?
Yes, predisposing factor is one of them is heart disease kan. Patient VSD has higher risk factor to develop IE, but IE itself it is always an infection ya, because endocarditis due to infection. So memang patient kalau yang normal patient yang no heart disease itu still possible develop IE juga, tapi very rare kan, low risk. But kalau patient with heart disease, especially yang complex cyanotic heart disease, it is high risk to develop IE. Tapi kan tak semua patient yang TOF, for example yang biru-biru itu tak semua jadi IE ya. Dia develop IE if develop infection. So that's why yang to develop infection ya usually with poor hygiene tadi, dental hygiene, banyak caries or tonsil dia besar, ada kuman kat situ. So in some point dia develop infection tu spread hematogenically, dia sepsis, kena jantung dia, jadi condition of IE itu infective endocarditis, so inflammation of the endocard of the heart.
Okay, doktor. Thank you.
Okay, so sekarang boleh nampak kan slide ni kan? Belum? Belum ya, jap. Dah presenting. Saya belum keluar ni. Namanya wifi ni. Astagfirullahaladzim. Boleh? Belum kan?
Belum.
So, okay lah, we continue discussion, nanti pun dah tampak kan ya, yang after checking the hands, pulse ya, nanti pun akan nampak ya. Pulse ni again it is very detailed in CVS. Kalau in other system kan you just measuring heart rate lah kan, heart rate patient berapa nak kira 80 ke 100 beat per minute. Tapi in CVS examination you don't only calculating the heart rate, tapi after rate you must you must comment on the rhythm, regular or irregular, character and volume of the pulse ya, bounding ke, collapsing ke, or good volume lah. So normally ya cakapnya good volume. Kalau weak pulse tu usually patient in hypotension lah, shock. And then after that you also compare ya. Tak keluar ni. Apa lagi ni? Ke macam ni je.
Nampak tak ni? Oh, tak nampak juga. Tak apalah, tadi you dah nampak kan di apa? File yang tadi tu, screen yang tadi tu.
Tak apa, doktor cakap je. Kita orang take.
Okey lah. Itulah the volume, okay? 1 rate, 2 rhythm, 3 karakter and volume. 4 ni compare ya. Compare right and left, radio radial, and then upper and lower radiofemoral delay. And then lastly, check the any paradoxical or bounding or collapsing. Ya. So double lah yang tadi, yang volume tadi. Just comment good volume or weak lah, tapi should be good volume. And then yang lastly, tadi comment on any paradoxical or bounding or collapsing pulse. So itu so actually di teknik ni udah belajar semua kan, masa elementary posting pun udah belajar, masa medical posting pun dulu udah sempat belajar kan. Tapi itulah your block 3 masa medical kan most likely at home kan, online. So tak banyak lah you pegang patient. Alright, so itu ya, comment in details. Rhythm tu regular and irregular ya. And then ada yang tanya tak pasal rate ni? You kira how long you measure tak? Amel berapa? 1 minute ya?
Yes.
Okay, 1 minute ya. So memanglah kena 1 minute because sometimes you have a patient with irregular rhythm kan, so you cannot measure in only 15 second or 30 second kan. You need to calculate in whole 1 minute. It is time consuming lah. Usually in your short case, in your OSCE tu you have only 10 minutes kan. Kalau you habiskan 1 minute untuk measure heart rate, lagi 1 minute untuk respiratory rate, belum lagi panic, tak tahu apa nak buat, dah habislah masa. So it is non illegal approach ya. I repeat, it is illegal ya. So it is unrecorded patutnya ya. Kalau you nak kira in 15 or 30 second, just make sure it is regular ya. Kalau it is irregular, you should still approach in full 1 minute ya. If it is regular rhythm, you can predict kan. You can predict, oh regular ni okay lah. So just 15 times 4 or 30 times 2 in 30 second and then times 2 ya. But my tips, because it is illegal, please don't show your illegal approach ya. So jangan nampak sangat you measure actually only 15 second or 30 second and then you nampak duplicate or multiply 2 or 4 ni. So akan nampak kan, kalau you report heart rate is 80 kan, nampak oh it is multiplication lah. So kalau you nak dapatkan my tips, you give comment tu heart rate is 81 or 83 lah. Kalau odds number ni kan, it's unlikely from multiplication kan. Kalau even number, so multiply from times 2 or times 4. Itulah kalau regular, just measure quickly and then sebut any number, try to mention odd number lah supaya tak nampak multiplication. And then you must confident lah, jangan nampak sangat because kerap je it is common juga. I see that when you report heart rate, you still nampak kira-kira. So nampaklah kalau you multiply tu. Itu satu. Second tips is actually the concept of measuring ni, nak kira tu actually more important your comment, bukan the exact number ya. You must know whether your patient is in normal heart rate or maybe tachycardia or bradycardia. Jarang lah kalau bradycardia ya, unlikely it is for exam. So commonly you must understand, interpret whether the patient has normal rate or tachycardia. Itulah yang penting. Asal you tahu, oh this patient is normal lah, okay, patient is stable, vital sign, okay, comfortable, just mention any normal rhythm. Kalau below 5 years itulah below 100 beat per minute, sebut 83, 87, it is not difference kan. Whether you mention 83 or 92 sama aja kan, dia sama-sama normal heart rate. It is not important the exact number. But if you mention it is 130 or 140, oh this one tachycardic. Nah, itulah the concept, you must understand your patient ini normal ke tachy. Kalau udah tahu patient tachy ya sebut lah patient heart rate is 160 tachycardic. So you know lah patient ini ada some problem with heart rate, maybe ada heart failure ke apa-apa ya. Okay, so dah body pulse paham ya. So we go, kenapa ini presenting tapi tak keluar. We go next to after pulse, we go dah sampai semua kan, general dah, and then go to peripheral hands pulse, and then go to precordium next. Oh ya, balik lagi ya tadi yang actually every step tuh semua important kan, including dari kalau pulse tuh kenapa kena compare radio kembali cari coarctation of aorta kan, semua every step ada reason ya, so you should do it very detail ya. Pounding pulse usually PTA or aortic regurg. Tak boleh nampak still. Oke, biar aja lah. Oke, yang precordium sama ya, yang chest tadi, inspect, palpate, percuss, auscultate. Ya, inspect, sudah repetition. Kan tadi masa in general kan, you udah comment dia patient maybe ada some chest indrawing ke apa-apa, you repeat lagi kan. Tapi some specific item in CVS tuh, any scar kan, kalau ada sternotomy scar, ya post-op, or any deformity ya, patient-patient with heart disease might have some pectus carinatum or excavatum ya. And then any visible pulsation of the apex pit tuh, visible apex pit or not. Nah, ya normally not lah, unless very tiny malnourished patient akan nampak visible pulsation. Kalau dia yang obese patient usually invisible ya, non-visible. Okay, and then palpate kan, after you inspect, palpate tuh, yeah, of course first you must get the apex pit. Yeah? What happen if you don't get the apex pit? So common, if you don't get the apex pit, you will miss very simple case of dextrocardy kan. Kalau we have lah patient dextrocardy itu. If you don't get the apex pit, so you will miss lah the diagnosis. So actually kalau inilah case dextrocardy ini, because very straightforward, you cari apex pit. Kalau ke kiri tak clear, cari ke kanan ya. So palpate apex pit on the left tak clear sangat. Check on the right side ya, make sure there is no dextrocardia ya. Because if like this patient we call to the exam and then you don't appreciate or you don't get the dextrocardia ya, you misdiagnosis kan, wrong diagnosis ya, jadi fail because it is straightforward ya. Apex pit is compulsory. So beside apex pit, item number 2 in palpation yang compulsory is to check any trill ya. Trill is palpable murmur, any trill or not in 4 area of the valve. and then cek di parasternal heave. Parasternal heave is sign of right or left ventricular hypertrophy.
Right.
Right.
Oke, ya, right kan. Case-case yang RVH nih, usually kan cyanotic ya, complex cyanotic heart disease, right to left shunt dia jadi RVH, especially TOF nih. Kalau TOF ya one of the deformity ya, one of the anomaly ya RVH nih, one of the tetralogy of Fallot. So kalau you jumpa RVH parasternal heave, patient cyanosis, maybe it is TOF. Okay. Okay, palpation, anything? Clear ya, palpate very detail juga. And then next, go to the percussion. Percussion actually not compulsory. No, we don't do it routinely. When we need to percuss, in case kalau patient ada cardiomegaly, ada some sign of heart failure, maybe we need to percuss lah, make sure betul tak ini cardiomegaly. And then sama juga patient with heart failure, apa one of the sign of heart failure on the abdomen, right heart congestion.
Hepatomegaly.
Liver.
Heart failure.
Liver.
Patient with heart failure, maybe you need to percuss the liver, palpate and percuss the liver lah kan. Make sure the hepatomegaly itu. Tapi kalau tak ada heart failure, janganlah menyibuk nak cek liver, tak payah. Bisa no respiratory distress, no sign of heart failure, dah sudahlah. Nanti tak cukup masa untuk cek tak cukup masa nanti untuk present. Tapi kalau with heart failure, maybe we need to add on liver palpation and percussion juga, as well as percuss the heart itself, cardiomegaly betul tak. Contoh ya, kalau patient with respiratory distress tapi the heart is not big, not enlarged, maknanya maybe it is due to the lung problem kan. Patient with pneumonia akan distress juga. But kalau heart failure ya kan, patient respiratory distress with cardiomegaly, maybe ada hepatomegaly juga. Okay. Next is auscultation. Nah, this one ini auscultation yang most important part kan, because especially in acyanotic ya, congenital heart disease itu kan diagnose VSD, ASD, PDA. PS-nya you kena dapat finding from auscultation kan. Kalau auscultation tak dapat the murmur ni, jadilah tak boleh diagnose juga kan. Okay, so important. But the description of the murmur is not the first thing that you must do. You must recognize first is the heart sound. Even before pun nak tanya dulu, on how many points you auscultate the heart. Nak auscultate berapa titik, berapa tempat. Ada, okay.
4.
4. Okay, the answer is not wrong, but it's not right as well. 4 actually is minimal. Minimal you auscultate in this 4 area of the valve nih kan, the representation of the valve. But it is actually not adequate. Despite this 4 area, actually you should auscultate all over the chest as well, because not always the punctum maximum, the loudest sound tuh not always in this 4 area. For example, VSD itu not really on the tricuspid or mitral, dia in left sternal, lower left. Kalau PS or ASD usually upper left. Usually not really on this point. You just go, my tips too, you just go from mitral to tricuspid to, please don't jump. Don't mitral and then tricuspid and then pulmonal and then aorta. No. From this every point you just go small step. just move your stethoscope slow few times ya. For example from mitral don't jump to tricuspid, go slow. Mitral go to the left. Mitral is the the apex kan, from the most left and most inferior kan. Go to the central kan, right sampai tricuspid area. And then go up all over the left sternal edge too, from the lower to upper. And then baru jump to the aortic. What more kalau the case is dextrocardi, so maybe the loudest not on the left tapi on the right. So you tengoklah more location on the right chest.
Doktor,
Cardium, yes.
nak tanya maknanya kan dari contohlah pada mitral ke tricuspid tu,
Yes.
kita kena keep on auscultate along the
The road,
along.
yes.
Oh, okay.
So please don't jump cepat-cepat ya. Jangan auscultate 1, 2, 3, 4 selesai. Please go slow because the part tu nak cari the loudest sound tu. Not always on the valve area. Not always on the lower or upper, sometimes in the middle. So cari yang betul-betul kat mana, yang paling keras. So because the loudest area ni will help you to diagnose. Lagi keras mana, for example on the mitral, on the apex or on the lower left sternal edge. Kalau on the apex usually if systolic murmur ya it is MR kan, mitral regurg. But kalau on the left sternal edge, so it is not mitral regurg, it is VSD. So nanti you belajar ya the characteristic finding of murmur of every anatomical hadis itu. Cari paling keras kat mana. And then when you auscultate pun the first thing tadi yang saya katakan, not comment on the murmur. You must get the S1 and S2 first. Maybe ada splitting of S2 will help you to diagnose by SD. If you don't get S1 and S2, boleh nih sekarang ya. Nih boleh. Ya, if you don't get S1 and S2, kat sini sekarang kita ya. If you don't get S1 and S2, you will never appreciate whether it is systolic or diastolic murmur kan. Systolic itu after S1 ke after S2? Siapa nak jawab nih? Ada suara tapi tak ada jawaban. Hilang pula mute pula dia. Faizal.
Yes.
Apa systolic? Between S1 S2 or between S2 S1?
Between S1 S2.
So that's why supaya tahu ini systolic ke diastolic, you kena tahu mana S1 mana S2. S1 usually kan low pitch kan, dia leb. S2 dia higher, dep. So heart rate itu bukan tek actually ya, it is lep dep. S1 to S2 itu usually shorter than S2 to S1. Tapi thing will more difficult kalau dia tachycardy, but more kalau dia sampai failure tuh dia sampai kita sebut gallop rhythm ya. Kalau udah gallop rhythm tuh macam suara kuda tuh, difficult lah mana S1 S2 tuh. Usually kalau dia still normal heart rate we can recognize lep dep. So we know lah kalau the murmur tuh after lep before dep, so it is systolic ya. Kalau after dep tuh after second heart sound it is diastolic ya. So itu ya, when you after you know S1 S2 udah betul ausculted mana location yang paling keras, so barulah you can describe the murmur. Description actually ada so many item ya, ada 7 actually, tapi yang compulsory at least this 1, 2, 3, at least 3 lah. Yang first di timing itu systolic or diastolic tadi, after you know S1 and S2. This number 2 is grading, up to berapa grading, Faisal?
6.
Up to 6 kan. Usually kalau you hear the murmur tuh ya grade 3 lah. Kalau grade 1 and grade 2 kan very soft. Grade 2 I can still hear lah soft. Grade 1 saya sometimes pun I don't hear. Pada saya tak ada murmur lah. And then usually grade 1 S2 kan soft and innocent, kita sebut innocent murmur. Actually murmur may be heard tapi actually no anomalies. Actually hard when we do echo normal. Itulah grade 1 gitu. If you hear the murmur patient with heart disease, usually grade 3. And then you you reply balik your palpation kan. Kalau if you palpate the trill, maknanya it is grade 4. Grade 5 actually tak sampai stetoskop, tak sampai tempel, sampai sentuh di chest tuh udah dengar ya. Grade 6 without stethoscope. Usually yang grade 5 and 6 tuh very rare lah. Patient-patient yang usually with severe heart failure ya, and then dah teruk sangat di problem itu akan baru. Saya pun jarang, tak pernah yang grade 6, yang grade 5 pernah. Usually kan grade 3 or grade 4 lah. Kalau you dengar murmur very clear, cakap grade 3. Kalau you palpate trill, ya grade 4. Simple ya. Location tadi ya, location when you auscultate tadi, cari betul-betul. Jangan lompat-lompat supaya tahu mana yang best heart ya. Karakter like di crescendo, amplitude, radiation itu tak penting. Tapi kalau you tahu, it is help you to diagnose ya. Radiation itu the key of radiation usually dia along the flow of the blood. For example dia mitral regurg kan, so regurgitation of the blood from where to where, Faisal?
From ventricles.
Left ventricle to
Left atrium.
Yes, so direction of blood tuh dia pergi to the axilla. Kalau case MR tuh radiation to the axilla. You hear the murmur loudest on the apex, on the mitral, and then you can still hear the murmur sampai axilla. Itulah radiation. Tetapi tak penting. Asal you tahu ya, actually you can always guess lah. Kalau MR ya to the axilla. Kalau AR from the upper right sternal edge nih, dia radiated to left sternal edge. Ya karena pergi balik from aorta to left ventricle. Contoh macam itu ya. Oke. In some case ini yang difficult lah. Kalau yang most case kan on the precordium you can hear, tapi sometimes murmur tak clear sangat on the precordium. Case-case yang macam coarctation of aorta, because aorta position is on the back. So you don't hear the murmur clearly in the anterior kan, in the precordium. Maybe you need to auscultate on the posterior, on the back of the chest ya. You can hear louder lah usually kalau dia coarctation of aorta. Ini usually dia continuous murmur dia. PDA continuous ya. Kalau VSD systolic ya, pansystolik. MR pun sama pansystolik, tapi location lain. Yang diastolic usually AR ya. So you baca nanti yang detail-detail tuh. Kalau discuss sekarang nanti tak cukup lah masa ini, dah pukul 12 lebih. Okay. And then next is tadi ya, masa your general inspection kan, maybe this patient has features of heart failure kan, dia nampak distress kan. So itulah in this case kan kalau ada case nampak patient dyspneic, you must go detail juga, check any bypassal crash, any hepatomegaly, any ankle edema, any increased JVP, and so on and so forth. If no sign of heart failure, ya you may skip this other checking. Oh iya, tak ada yang tanya ke? Apa beza dengan dewasa nih? Dari tadi kan sama aja kan? Yang sedikit beza tu JVP lah. Kalau you check the infant, even the neck is very short kan? So it is difficult to appreciate JVP. Usually case-case yang you can check the JVP tu kalau 3 years and above lah. Usually yang school age. Kalau yang infant janganlah menyebut cari JVP tu. You just comment, cannot appreciate or check the JVP due to short neck lah. In infant tu, budak in babies. Okay, lastly jangan lupa BP ya. Tadi masa general kan usually with vital sign juga kan. So kenapa BP penting? Because it sometimes will help you to diagnose juga. Tapi itulah kalau ini short case, OSCE yang 10 minutes, maybe it is not adequate time kan. You check BP kan sometimes ya, it is another 2 or 3 minutes kan, tak cukup masa. Ya, usually ya, another tips in CVS tu usually kalau nak BP tu jangan check sendiri. You just mention ya in the end of your examination, just report to the examiner that you want to complete your examination with measuring BP. Just, maknanya you minta lah BP to the examiner, BP dia berapa dokter? Kalau short case ya, kalau long case ya you buat sendirilah semua. Because nak buat CVS tadi detail dan tambah BP tak cukup masa. Unless kalau the instruction is just measure check the BP, so okay lah, you buat measuring BP je. Apa contoh yang, for example, BP dia 90/30, apa komen dia? Sometimes it is informative, helpful to diagnose. Mana? Tak ada yang komen, 90/30 BP dia. Faisal?
Hypotensi boleh.
Hypotension.
No lah, hypotension tu kalau systolic dia less than 70. Systolic 90. Saya ubah lah 100 or 120/30 ya. Systolic tak rendah, systolic oke. Okay. Tapi diastolic dia very low kan. Apa nama dia? Tak tahu nih. Aduh, kasihannya gue nih. Masa medical tak pernah jumpa kardiologis Pak ya. Tak ada yang ajar ya. CVS ya. Kalau interval between systolic and diastolic very wide, more than 40, kita sebut wide pulse pressure. So interval dia banyak, because normal BP itu usually intervalnya not more than 40 lah. 120/80. Kalau paling banyak pun 50 tak apalah, 120/70 still consider normal lah. Kalau more than that, interval dia 60 ke 70 kan, kayak macam tadi kan 90/30 kan, interval is 60 kan, pressure dia. So kita sebut wide pulse pressure. Apa? Heart disease with wide pulse pressure. Usually AR lah kalau budak besar, tapi kalau patient-patient with rheumatic heart disease, tapi PDA lah, dia akan wide pulse pressure juga. Jadi usually sama, kalau ada wide pulse pressure dia ada usually ada bounding or collapsing pulse. Okay ya. So ini all the details, ini pun just very simple kan. I don't go very detail. Just list down the compulsory item. Itu pun kena discuss banyak in details ya. Any more questions?
Doktor nak tanya yang
Yes.
technical je lah.
Yes.
Kalau baby kita dengan auscultate guna bell semua valve. Terus
itulah kalau guna bell actually follow pitch sound kan.
Pitch
Kalau
sound.
yang high pitch
Still guna yang lagi satu lah.
in theory you can hear the murmur with bell tuh. Tapi susah juga. So that's why memang ideally pakailah pediatric or infant size stethoscope. Kalau you pakai yang adult size stethoscope itu memang besar sangat diaphragm dia kan. Tapi itu masih still boleh lah. Tapi itulah kalau boleh you ada yang pediatric size lagi senang. Ada sekarang yang baru treatment tuh dia cardiac stethoscope tuh. So dua-dua diaphragm kan. Ada yang adult size diaphragm, balik dia bukan bell tapi pediatric size diaphragm. Nah, itulah. Usually memang low pitch boleh ya teman-teman, tapi lebih difficult lah. Kalau yang diaphragm easier to hear lah, because telinga kita sampai kan tak clear nak dengar apa-apa. Nak tahu murmur pun dah bagus, oh ada murmur dokter, okey lah. Tapi you must describe kan timing dia systolic or diastolic, grade berapa, and then location kat mana. Then you can diagnose. Okay, any question lagi?
I want to ask,
Yes.
what reference do we should use to study pediatrics?
Pediatrics or examination, yang CVS or semua pediatrics?
Yang semua.
Okay, so holy book dia bukan Quran ya. Holy book of pediatrics kan kita punya Nelson kan. So kalau you open Nelson tuh everything is there ya. Everything are there ya. So nak cari apa pun ada from A to Z. Tapi usually very difficult kan, because Nelson ni very detail, and then buku pun tebal sangat jadi bantal kan, macam malas nak baca. So actually banyak ada textbook tu yang Nelson is the most common use reference. Tapi kan banyak yang lain. Kalau nak baca yang macam up to date pun boleh, as long as the reference tu cakap di pediatric ya, all children ya, up to date. Or other textbook yang yang common textbook tu lupa saya. Banyaklah textbook yang pediatric. So, macam UM tu baru keluarkan baru launching tu tahun lepas textbook of pediatrics tu. UM ada. Bacalah mana-mana textbook of pediatrics boleh. Tapi kalau nak more deep, another problem kalau dia general pediatrics kan superficial here and there kan. Tapi kalau for example nak belajar CVS more deep, ada in every system usually ada textbook pediatric cardiology, ada pediatric respirology, ada pediatric nephrology, ada textbook dia. Nanti kalau you dah balik kampus, tengoklah lab tu, library tu ada kat library buku-buku every system tu. Yang contoh yang pediatric cardio tu, every system pun ada few juga, macam hemato dia ada few textbook. So you pilih lah mana-mana yang yang simple for you, yang you nak baca senang. For saya pun senang yang simple. For example yang cardio ni saya senang baca yang Pak tu, yung Pak dia the author dia, because this Pak pediatric cardiology ya simple explanation dia, nak faham senang. Kalau nak baca textbook yang lain boleh. So actually it is no limitation ya. Textbook is so many. You can get plenty, maybe 100 of textbook only by your hand, only with your Google tu. Boleh je download for free few textbook. Lagi satu yang compulsory for you since you are in Malaysia. So kan baca apa yang simple tu. Pediatrics protocol ya. So it's protocol for the hospital in Malaysia itu ada ya. Again you can download for free ya. The latest edition is edition 4. You can buy di hard copy in few medical kamal tuh. Kalaupun malas, saya pun malas lah nak beli-beli. Jadi download je for free the PDF. Okay, so itulah pitch protocol you kena ada. Kalau boleh baca Nelson dan ada textbook tadi. And then for PE itulah yang kita Zainab Kasim tu yang nipis sangat. Macam ni kan only satu muka surat je yang CPS. Only one page. Tapi kalau you baca MacLeod, boleh. Long as it is updated, jangan baca textbook yang 20 or 30 years ago. At least dia akan renew, dia akan keluar new edition. Banyaklah, tak ada limitation tapi compulsory, at least itulah yang saya sebut tadi. Dah. Okay, baik. Apa lagi? Anything else? Okay, lastly lah, before we close after dari examine semua kan, you pening lah, ini ada murmur ke, ada clubbing ke, ada cyanosis ke. How do you, after you present the findings, how do you get the diagnosis? Actually, ada strategi dia ya. Ini simple je nanti actually masa Jelfa pun akan saya repeat masa kelas kalau bedside teaching, kalau possible get the cardiac patient akan saya repeat juga in details ya. Simple in heart ni diagnosis not only anomali kan, not only anatomical diagnosis, not only VSD ke ASD. You must consider three things ya. The first is etiology. The second is anatomy, the third is the function. Etiology itu tadi saya dah sebut few times ya. Make sure ini congenital ke acquired satu. Yang congenital you must make sure ini cyanotic ke acyanotic. Itu je, tahu mana in which group is it. Once you know it is contoh ya, once you know patient cyanotic. Itu simple lah saya dah sebut. Complex cyanotic heart disease itu je. Because in your PE itu you cannot know whether it is TGA ke tricuspid atresia ke unless you perform echo kan. Usually yang kalau patient biru simple you sebut je at the end of your presentation it is complex cyanotic heart disease. But if it is TOF, it is because it is most common and then you can get the specific finding macam tadi jumpa parasternal heave, jumpa TPS murmur, maybe you can give diagnosis of TOF lah straight away. Tapi yang others tak tahu. Sebut je complex cyanotic heart disease. Okay. Now if patient pink kan, congenital heart disease pink lah. Your anatomy ni penting masa your auscultation tadi. Whether it is VSD ke ASD ke PDA. Kalau yang tadi yang cyanotic, even though you hear for example pansystolic murmur on left sternal edge, so it is not VSD lah. Because VSD is acyanotic. Kalau patient biru bukan VSD. If you diagnose patient cyanotic, you diagnose VSD, it is wrong. Biru ya diagnose tadi complex cyanotic heart disease yang tak tahu, tapi masa your description kan there is VSD murmur lah, pansystolic murmur, tapi diagnosis ya complex, still complex cyanotic heart disease. You just list down apa diferensial apa aja tadi. TOF maybe dapat boleh, tapi yang macam TGA with VSD, tricuspid atria with VSD, TAPVD with VSD, semua tu kompleks lah, banyak diferensial. Okay, yang acyanotic penting anatomi tadi, murmur, description. Dan lagi satu kalau yang acquired, kalau small child usually Kawasaki, tapi kalau yang older child, yang rheumatic fever, rheumatic heart disease usually school age kan, above 5 year old. Itulah. Kalau nampak dia budak besar, maybe rheumatic heart disease, ya carilah AR or MR je tadi. Itu. And then lastly, always assess the function. Tadi kan you check masa general inspection, distress ke tak. And then you check other sign of heart failure. So always mention in your diagnosis. For example, nampak patient pink and then VSD murmur. Okay lah, this is VSD with or without heart failure. you kena clearly mention the function. Because kalau you sebut VST saja still halfway lah. Maknanya you have not completely assessed the function of the heart. Jadi sebut lah, this is VST. For example, nampak distress, okay lah, with heart failure. Tapi patient stable, ya VST not in failure. Tu ya, so the tips tu macam tu. Classify first etiology, and then get the diagnosis from the anatomical, from the auscultation. Unless kalau yang cyanotic, ya sebut complex cyanotic heart disease. And then don't forget to mention the function, ya, with or without heart failure. Okay. So, okay, can you apa namanya? Do you understand all or tak understand tak apa lah. Usually it needs time lah to understand all lah. Even saya pun still learning until today ya. Masih belajar banyak ya. Okay. You have time nanti belajar banyak-banyak, praktis banyak-banyak. Video sorry ya tak sempat ya. Dah pukul 12 lebih, nanti you cari sendiri ya.
Okay, doktor.
Right, senang je cek search on YouTube CVS examination children, keluarlah video-video atau perform sama je, yang akan sama lah cek di hand, di pulse, and then inspection, palpation, percuss, and auscultate sama je. Alright, dah. Okay, that's all. We close our session with tasbih kafarat nasr subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, doktor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, doktor.